Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode 30. Whew. 30 episodes. It's Thursday, so we have Jim F0123 Art on with us, and yeah, let's get into it. How you doing, Jim?
I am doing good. I can't believe big 3-0.
30 episodes. Who knew? Back when we started this, last May.
Yeah.
You know?
Amazing.
It was an experiment to see if anybody wanted to listen to us talk about bullshit.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, we had no idea what was going to happen, and, you know, we give it a shot. And, here we are 30 episodes later, and it seems to be really picking up.
Yeah, we hit over 1,000 downloads.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
Very awesome.
We hit 1,000 downloads 2 episodes ago,
Nice.
so we're climbing every day.
Yeah.
And, we appreciate everybody that's tuning
Absolutely.
in around the world.
That's the thing. You know, when you look and you see the scope of it and where people are downloading it from, and it's like, wow, you know, it's our voices are carrying around the world talking about ridiculous things that hopefully everybody enjoys.
Saving the world, I think.
Right. Yeah, one podcast at a time.
So good Black Friday.
Yeah.
A lot of people turned out to the store.
Yeah,
we did a lot of
awesome.
business. So thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
It helps keep the lights on.
Absolutely.
So, and we're still posting product every day.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's Catalyst Crafting is the main website. Catalyst Creations NH is the Etsy store. So there's definitely something on there for you. I mean, we're coming up on almost 400 products.
Wow.
Coming up on almost 700 orders.
Crazy.
Almost 300 5-star reviews. We're doing pretty good.
Who knew?
Yeah. Well, have you watched anything?
I did.
Oh.
I did.
Ah.
I did. So, I was excited to dive into this movie.
Okay.
A lot of good reviews, a lot of good word of mouth. So I wanted to check it out.
Sure.
Little movie by
you do.
little movie by the name of X.
A24.
Right. And so I'm thinking this can't lose, right? Absolutely can't lose. A24 movie, horror, X, right? So they open up and it's 1970s Texas, right? So I'm thinking this Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes, right?
Definitely has that vibe.
So I'm thinking, here we go.
Did you like it?
I did not.
Ooh.
I did not.
So I've seen it too.
Yes.
So I'm interested to discuss it with you. I'll say right off the bat, I liked it, but I don't think it's as good as people laud this movie.
Right. And maybe that's part of what upsets me so much is that, the word of mouth and the reviews were so strong. And then when I watched it, again, when you
can never live up to the hype that it's generated.
No, but I wanted it to be at least close. And
I don't think it is either.
No.
I think it's fine. It's fine. I don't think it's anything. You know what it is? It's that thing with Smile, right? It doesn't. It's not bringing anything new to the table.
No.
What it does fine.
Yeah. But I liked the premise of it, right? I mean, here's a company they want to make a porno.
Yeah.
And so they rent a place from an elderly couple to shoot, and they think that they're going to get it onto home video, and this was going to revolutionize the market. And so, interesting premise. Where does it go from there?
Different, That's not usually what you see, going in,
right?
Where your main characters are a bunch of porn actors,
right?
So I like that too.
Yeah, and the thing is, though,
and then her motivation was. It was all jealousy, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, obviously when the movie's going, right, nobody else enters the picture, right? So meaning that you had the 2 elderly people that rented the house to the group that's making the film, and that's it. So again, we know who the killers are, right? So we know who's going to start doing the murdering. It's a matter of why, and like you said, just pure jealousy. They're old. They didn't live the free and easy lifestyle that these people are, the debauchery.
Right. She snaps and that kind of kicks it all off. There were some good scenes, like when the girl's sleeping in the bed or whatever, and then the lady's there with her. Like, there's some good stuff in there.
Mean, there was some creepy elements to it. But I mean, it's just
it's got a lot of camp.
A lot of camp.
Here's the thing. I don't know that it would be one like it's probably not on my top 5 of the. Did it come out this year?
Yeah. No.
Maybe last year.
Last year, I think.
Okay. Yeah, probably not even in my top 5 of last year. It's fine if you exhausted all the good horror and you need something. Sure, give it a watch. Yeah.
It's just that when movies like this and, as you said, Smile come out, and we're hearing, the reviews are like, this is now changing horror. This is now one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
To me, X has not changed horror.
No.
See, I liked Smile. Yeah,
Smile was okay. I didn't love it.
I don't think it changed the game.
No, but again, it had some decent pieces. It had some good element.
It's just the ring.
It's just that, when I'm watching these movies and they're supposed to be revolutionary, some of the best horror to ever come out, and then you watch it and like, I can name 20 movies better than what I've just seen.
So I take it you're not going to watch Pearl then?
Probably not.
Okay.
But maybe.
Because I heard Pearl is better than X.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. As we both know, and we talk about it every podcast, we watch a lot of horror movies. So the odds are we probably will watch all of these horror movies and be here to talk about them at some point. But I'm just not. It's just there's. I don't know that the horror genre is not producing they're producing quantity. They just haven't been producing quality, but I'll still keep watching.
I've seen a few that I thought are really good. I mean,
obviously I'm missing, still haven't gotten through all of them.
I mean, anything that Eggers does, right? And that's few and far between, obviously. Right. But when they come out, those are always good.
Yeah.
I like folk horror. Did you see Antlers?
No, I haven't seen that either.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Wendigos. That's always interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there. I have a couple on my list right now that I'm trying to get through. So I have this one called Caveat that I want to watch. And then I have Seder, which is another one. So those are the two that are on my list to kind of get through. But I get what you're saying. There is, it's with any movies. There's a lot of movies coming out. Yeah, movies are the easiest to make than they've ever been in the entire history of movies.
Right.
So yes, we get an insane amount of films.
Yeah. It's every time I watch a new horror movie, I'm thinking to myself, is there any new space to explore, or are we just going to kind of rehash what we've already seen, add more gore, add more violence, add more swearing, add more nudity, and call it something else? But the bare bones of it is a movie we've already seen before, maybe even numerous times before. And it's all the same tropes.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, but I think we've all, Jordan Peele's kind of come into his own.
Yeah.
So you get kind of that. That's a very, different direction for horror. You have Robert Eggers, obviously. There's a lot more folk horror, which I think is great. More of that, please.
Sure.
I'm interested to see what Eggers does with Nosferatu. I'd like to see some vampire shit that's like scary again.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So that could be interesting.
Yeah, you're not up for Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm all about that.
That looks like a winner, right?
I actually heard good things about that.
I'm sure it's probably pretty entertaining.
Yeah,
David Harbour is always interesting.
Yeah, I can get on board with that from a camp perspective.
Sure, and I think that's all you would get on board with it.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'm about that.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I love ridiculous horror.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot to look forward to.
I mean, I look at it like that. Again, it's the horror to me is like the pizza, right? The pizza cliche. Even bad pizza is still good pizza, right?
Right.
Even bad horror movies are still a lot better than, like, I don't want to watch a romance or a rom-com, or comedies are really tough. I mean, there's so many poor comedy.
Yeah, I struggle with comedy.
Yeah.
I can't watch too much comedy these days.
But horror, at least, I mean, maybe besides the Monster movie that came out, at least you can probably walk away liking some of it, the elements of it. I don't think you ever walk away truly saying, yeah, that was, this movie was not even worth making.
No, and I mean, obviously I have that Shudder script, and I think, even though they never gave me a code, shame on you, Shudder.
Yeah, I know.
It's very interesting to see kind of the fare that they put out, because there's a lot of indie stuff, and to me, a lot of that stuff is great because you don't have the budget to do these blockbusters, so you gotta you have to actually be creative.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good stuff out there. I think I don't know, I'd call it like a renaissance right now. No. I mean, what I need you to watch is Barbarian, because I'm curious to see what your thoughts are.
I have that listed as one of the next ones.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Good.
What do you think about the Pennywise series?
I don't know.
It's odd.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're saying that Bill Skarsgård is going to reprise his role.
Yeah, I mean,
it's one of those things where the more you know.
Yeah, I said this back with like the Obi-Wan series. I don't need it. I didn't need all that story.
Yeah.
I was good with what I had. I don't know that I need more Pennywise story to be told.
Right. Well, it's that thing where when you start to over-explain, like I've discussed this with you a little bit, and even partially Proficient. The only horror that you can really get away with over-explaining is folk horror.
Yeah.
Because it's so different than the rest of it, right? Because folk horror is usually we have a certain idea, but then when you actually understand it, it's worse.
Yeah.
But every other horror movie, as soon as you start to shine a light on, the creatures or whatever it is, it loses its power.
Yeah. Well, and also, a lot of times they have trouble with timeline. They have trouble with continuity. And what you end up doing is you end up ruining the main movies, because now all of a sudden it's like, best, this changes now.
It is? At best, it makes it slightly better, and at worst, it waters it down and ruins a movie.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm going to be open-minded about it, but I mean, if it's just more if it's just it, but in the past, like him coming up through sure, okay,
yeah,
that's fine. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not like we need to understand how he was created, because we know.
You know what it is they're struggling so much right now because they're so disconnected.
Yeah,
they're struggling so much that they know that version of Pennywise hits.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of trying to figure out what the next big thing is, they're like, well, we want to make more it. We can't go into the future because he gets, stomped.
Right.
So we'll have to do a prequel.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, so not a fan of X, huh?
Not a fan. I wouldn't recommend it.
Would you have wanted it to be more of like a true slasher? Is that what it is, or is it just that it was so hyped up?
I want to say that. Yeah, I want to say the hype, because when you go into it thinking you're going to see something revolutionary or one of the best horror movies ever,
definitely not.
Right. And I think that all of a sudden your expectations get so much lowered that you can't even appreciate anything that you just saw, because it was like, well, that wasn't even close to what people said it was. And so all of a sudden now it's just kind of ruined it for you.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes you take a step back after a little while and revisit it and say, yeah, okay, maybe it wasn't as bad as I first saw it. I can appreciate it a little bit more, but you definitely have to go into it knowing it's not as good as the press that it received.
I agree. So I actually have been. Here's the thing: is I know I'm very critical of the superheroes and everything, and
Yes.
you know, people. A lot of the feedback I got is, well, you know, you haven't seen it all. How can you be so critical? And it's like,
Right.
well, you know, I've seen enough at this
Sure.
point.
Oh, yeah.
But I have been working my way through Phase 4.
Yes, yes. You mentioned that.
I watched Thor: Love and Thunder.
You did. Okay.
I did.
And what did you think?
So the problem is the tone.
Yeah.
Because here's what it is. It's so disjointed. It feels like two movies.
Yeah.
It's so disjointed because you have Jane dying of cancer.
Right.
Very serious. And you have Gore, played by Christian Bale, who is he's a cool character. I like what they did with him, and he's incredibly serious.
Yeah.
So you have your bad guy is serious. He doesn't joke. Like
Right.
through the movie,
Right.
he doesn't joke. And you have Jane, you know, who's sick, which is pretty heavy.
Right.
And the rest of the movie is a comedy.
Right.
So it's like you can't mash those two things up because it doesn't feel right. So you have all these jokes and
Yep.
you know, and the jokes are fine, but tonally I'm sitting there going like, this should either be serious and you need to feed into what's happening, or it can be funny.
Yeah.
That's why it didn't work for me.
It didn't work for everybody.
Right, and
For those
that's
reasons.
why, is because you know, again, the bones are there.
Yeah.
Which is a credit to Taika. I mean, I think he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
But you can't have a serious villain and a serious B plot with her being sick, and then your A plot is lighthearted, jokey Marvel. It's
Right.
like, you can't do that. This
Right.
is a serious flick.
Right. Well, I mean, it's so bad. You've pissed off Chris Hemsworth to the point where Hemsworth has come out and trashed it and trashed Waititi
Well, because I
because
think
he's so mad.
the problem is that Gore was good. Like, look, did he look like comic book Gore? No.
No, but
You know what? It didn't matter.
No.
He was good. And what was interesting was he's one of those villains that has the Thanos motivation where it's not, you're not like, oh, he's just evil. It's like, no, the gods failed him.
yeah.
And, he's killing them.
The only thing is that he only killed one god. Like, they should have
they
really
only showed him kill one god.
But they don't really expound upon it either.
Right,
I
but
think
that's
they really-
that's another issue. Is
Yeah.
you have a long ass movie, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think what they should have done was they should have leaned off of the humor, got into more of the god slaying stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe taken Jane being sick a little more seriously.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Hemsworth wanted.
So that was my issue with it, is that tonally, it almost felt like I couldn't get comfortable because, like, anytime Bale was on screen, I was enthralled. I was like, oh, great, this is a good villain. Because you agree,
Right.
maybe he's going about it the wrong way, but there are elements to his cause that you can get on board with.
Right.
Right? Some of the gods are selfish. Sure, that makes sense.
He at least was a villain that had some motivation. Whether
Right.
you agree with the motivation or not, he was motivated by more than greed, money, taking over the city,
Right,
whatever
right.
it might be. He had true motivation for what he perceives as a major failing, much like Thanos, as you just mentioned. And he has true motivation to go and do what he's doing.
Right, and Bale sells it really well. There's a and the thing is that there is a level of insanity to the cat, because obviously, the story is he's a parent and his daughter dies, right?
Right.
So he's gone through the worst thing a parent could go through, and it cracks him.
Yep.
So there is, a level of insanity that he brings into the character where anytime he's on screen, you're like, oh, this is a little unpredictable. Like, I don't know, like, what's going to happen here?
Sure.
And then we have all these fucking scenes where it's jokes and, Zeus and the other gods, and there's a bow god that's a little cutesy, and it's just like, but then we jump back to gore and it's like serious darkness, cancer, and the sword is an allegory for cancer, obviously.
Sure.
And it was just so hard to like get comfortable because it's like, is this a serious superhero flick or is this, another Ragnarok?
Right. And that's the problem. This isn't, and what truly bothers me is that as good as Hemsworth is, and he can do the comedy, that's the worst character that you could possibly choose to do comedy.
Like if you subjectively look at his character arc through all of the Marvel stories, and he's one of the last OGs left, right? His story is a tragedy. He's lost everyone.
Yep.
He's this cocky god who gets put in his place, and he lost everyone.
Yep.
So, no, he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he has to be Batman, but like of all the characters, Thor understands loss.
No, but he should be. But he should have more of a serious element. He should be more of a Captain America than a Tony Stark. Right.
And it doesn't work for me.
No.
Especially this one. Like Ragnarok worked because they kind of leaned into the silliness and stayed there.
Yeah.
With this one, you had a very serious villain. And and again, the B plot is serious, so it's like you got to pick because it doesn't work. You can't have two different tones to a movie.
Right. Yeah, and then, you have the lack of Loki, which truly really helps make the Thor movies good.
Right, well, that's where you're supposed to get your humor from, is just Loki, poking at Thor.
Yeah,
right?
And again, those two, if you want to have quips between the brothers poking fun at each other, fine. Keep it condensed to that. But then be serious with all the other things.
Right.
And that's
that was the
why
problem.
It's so
like
poor.
Valkyrie and Jane are quipping to each other, which was fine. Their quips were funny. But it's like, but Jane's dying.
Yeah. But here's the problem. You had two movies prior where Jane was not funny or quippy at all. Now what? All of a sudden, it just became...
Well, it's probably the cancer. Just changed
maybe.
her outlook.
Yeah, it's just. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
it didn't make sense. Like,
no, you're changing a character without earning it.
Right, and it's like you just did it. You didn't care about continuity whatsoever.
No,
you made this movie to please yourself,
and it's frustrating because there's a scene right where Gore has them all tied up or whatever. And he feeds a line to Valkyrie about her sisters being killed. And I was like, oh, yeah, perfect. Like, feed into that. Because that's his whole bag, right? He's turning you against your gods.
Yep.
So I was like, yeah, that's the shit I want to see. Is that the plot of the movie is, the gods suck, and Gore is putting these little seeds of doubt in people.
Yep.
But no. And so then they escape, and it's more quips, and it's like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah, and again, you made it so bad that the star of the movie not only dislikes the movie, doesn't want to come back, and refuses now to come back unless you fix it and make him serious.
Tonal shift.
Right, and he doesn't want to work with Waititi anymore.
Right, and that's the thing is that I think Taika as a director, as a movie maker, I think he's good with humor.
Right.
And that's fine. There's definitely a place for him.
Sure.
But I just think that either make it another funny flick and don't tell that story, or if you're going to tell that story, be serious about it.
Yeah.
Because ultimately at the conclusion, because 90% of the movie is jokes and quips, it's a very solemn conclusion.
Right.
And it was hard to take it seriously because for the first hour and 45 minutes, you were making fucking jokes the whole time.
Yeah. And, it's the problem with Phase 4 entirely. Tonally, it made no sense.
It's tone deaf.
Right. They didn't know what to do in Phase 4. And every movie was not just... Right. It's tone deaf.
Basically what it is they took Tony Stark's personality and they're just like, yeah, we're just going to make movies out of that.
Right. Yeah. And we're not going to really, it doesn't have to really make sense. It doesn't have to match. It doesn't have to fit. We're just going to be jokey joke and just, we're going to go hard on diversity, which, they said they were going to go hard on diversity. And they did. And they went very hard on diversity and very hard on comedy. And you've lost a major amount of money because of it. Yeah,
well, I mean...
And fans.
And we've
36%.
We've talked about this, and I brought it up on our last talk about Wakanda Forever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with, them swapping out heroes, right? And even doing diversity swaps or gender swaps and everything, as long as you respect what came before.
Yeah.
Instead of shitting on it, and obviously with Wakanda, Chadwick Boseman sadly passed away, so it's a different situation. But every other fucking swap that they've done has been, I'm better than you, and that doesn't work.
Right, but that's the problem. That's the problem.
But you know what it is you're taking what's supposed to be your heroes and you're making me go, well, that's not very heroic of you.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, but real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
The thing is that if you get an Iron Man or a Captain America, or a Black Panther, right? What's the odds that there is somebody else that's actually better than them? You think you're only going to ever get that once in a lifetime, but all of a sudden somebody comes around and it's better, that they're better than them? Like, you really think that you can that's possible? And that's what I think infuriates everybody is, Captain America comes around and you think that's a once in a lifetime. You never see it. Then all of a sudden someone comes around, oh, this guy's better than him.
Well,
like,
see, but
really?
I think the Captain America thing was done right because the whole...
Well, I'm not saying Captain America.
No,
I'm just,
I know. But that's my point is like the whole thing with, Sam being the next captain is that the turmoil is that he can't fill Steve's shoes.
Right.
So to me, it's like, correct. Like that's the stories we should be telling is you have this, quote unquote pantheon, and obviously a lot of them are gone now.
Right.
So now you have to fill the shoes.
Yeah.
And that's the story that you should be telling
right.
is how can I be as good
right.
as T'Challa?
Right. I may never be them.
Right.
But let me try to be as good.
And that was the thing that really, made Peter Parker so endearing was that he wasn't, never did he say he was better than Tony.
Right.
He was trying to fill his shoes.
Yep.
And every other thing that they've done, it has been...
Yep, this person is better than the original. Immediately. Without doing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So, let's pivot a little bit, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
So, last week, I texted you, which, I'm not texting you for
right,
just nothing.
Right.
Chapek out.
Yeah. Out after signing an extension.
Gone.
Wow.
Iger back.
Yeah.
Poor Iger. He just wants to fucking retire.
Yeah.
Not allowed.
No.
Well, you picked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
So,
well,
you heard why, right? Like the official excuse?
Yeah.
Right. So basically he was shifting money around.
Yeah, that was
how they got him out.
You cooked the books. Yeah, you cooked the books. That was how they got him out. Here's
but if he was hitting home runs, they would have overlooked that.
Well, but here's the problem. When you have a $1.5 billion loss in a quarter, and then find out oh shit, that's actually a low number. You cooked the books.
Well,
it's actually
right.
way worse
Well,
than
the
that.
problem is that, you know, he made all these changes to the parks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't good changes. The Genie Plus system is
No.
not a good thing. Reservations are not good.
No.
And then you're raising the prices. So it's like what you're doing is you're ruining the media division because everybody had a report to him.
Right.
There was no creative freedom at all.
No.
And so that's losing a ton of money. And in order to try to supplement the hemorrhage that, you know, from the wound you created, you're going to just charge people an arm and a leg to go to the parks.
Yep. Yeah.
It's just so bizarre to me, you know, that someone like that can make it to that level. You know, and they renewed his contract.
Yeah.
It's only because no one else wants it right now.
Right. Yeah. But I will say this. I have the only faith I have in Iger, which is almost none, is that Iger can actually talk to people where Chapek cannot. Chapek has no interpersonal skills whatsoever and cannot have proper conversations.
Well, the problem is when you're at that level, right? It's your job is relationships.
Right.
You know, he's treating himself like king of the castle, and it's like, do you not understand? Like, that's the thing, is the CEO's job is to build relationships with other people in power.
Right. Because here's the thing. There is no more woke fuck than Bob Iger. The wokest man on the planet may be Bob Iger. So the difference, though, between him and Chapek is Iger will at least entertain the creative.
Well,
to
that's
say,
the thing, is that
maybe I'm wrong.
Right. So his thing is, this is where I kind of, when I heard he came back, I was good with it because of this. He lets them in the room, right? And he strikes me as if you brought to him like The Witcher, right? And you said like, look, Cavill's going to leave unless we get this back on track. He's at least open-minded enough to say, well, Cavill is what the show is.
Right.
So we got to make changes.
Right.
So I'm okay. Like, yeah, do I think that a lot of his sort of, decisions towards the end were a lot more, woke agenda type of stuff? Sure.
Because let's be fair. This Phase 4 is Iger. It's all Iger. Chapek only held the seat. All this stuff was in place before Iger left. It was already in the can.
Like, sorta.
Well,
because here's the thing.
He pushed the agendas and he pushed the ideology of what they wanted, and Chapek just kind of followed suit.
Here's where I kind of disagree with you on that, because to me, like, Iger was really only deeply involved up until the end of, like, Endgame. And then after Endgame came out, he's looking to retire.
Kinda.
I mean, he said it in interviews that he was trying to get out, and they renewed his con. So if his heart isn't in it at that point,
yeah, I don't know that I necessarily believe that. I think that was more trying to make Chapek feel better. I don't know that I necessarily believe that Iger was being truthful there. I think he was being quite disingenuous.
Well, he left.
He left only because.
See, the thing is,
they wanted to move on.
I thought Iger did it. I think as far as Disney CEOs go, Iger's up there.
He's up there only because there was success. That
he had the vision to buy the properties that he pushed for.
Yeah, but unfortunately, part of the problem was he overpaid and hamstrung the Disney Corporation because he overspent by billions of dollars.
Sure, but I mean, before he left, the stock was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
So people
because there
had
was faith. There was faith that there was a plan, and they thought there was a plan, and they were showing successes. But the problem here, and why I say this is because when Chapek came in, everybody said Chapek is anti-woke. And it got woker for the time that Chapek was there.
Right,
so,
but here's the problem is that I think he didn't, and I've said this before on the cast, he was good at running the parks.
Sure.
He's not a good, king of the castle.
No.
He was good at running his little kingdom.
Yeah.
And having, being a duke, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And because he didn't know anything about the media wing, he's deferring to people that have agendas.
Yep.
And so we got what we got. And ultimately, his tenure may be the worst. He's going down as possibly the worst, because even Eisner at the beginning, for whatever you want to say about him, saved Disney at the beginning.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So he may be the worst CEO.
Well, and part of that is because he's got no creative bone in his body.
Right. He's a pure business,
right. So
robot.
under his watch, we've seen Marvel go down. We've seen Star Wars become a dead IP.
Oh.
We're hearing Indiana Jones is about to be destroyed.
Well, I wanted to talk. So the trailer came out today.
Yes.
And the trailer looks great.
It does look good.
It does. And it's funny because Disney does this thing with all of their sequels where in every single trailer they play the quote-unquote songs, but just slow. Right? They did it with the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Indiana Jones. They do that shit just, they want you to feel the fucking...
they want you to feel it for sure.
And the thing is that I was watching the trailer, right? And I was like, this has the potential to be a decent send-off for Indy.
Per the trailer, it sure does.
Right. Because there was one scene with Marcus's granddaughter. I think her name is Bridget or something.
Bridge. Her last name is Bridge. Yeah.
Right. So there was one scene in the trailer of her.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that when that movie comes out, it's going to be 90% her.
Well, it absolutely is because
culminating,
that's what we've heard.
Right, and then culminating with the erasing of Dr.
and her
Jones
being the original Indiana Jones.
So the thing is that, and this is what I want to be clear on. I'm not saying it's not okay to move forward with a female version of Indiana Jones. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, and this is when I say woke, this is the shit that I mean. Because it's not about, continuing a legacy with a female character. And I said that when we were talking about Wakanda. Whether he died or he quit, I'm fine with you doing that swap because you respected him.
Right.
But you're erasing, if they finish it up with, the movie's not going to be that good because we all want to see Indiana Jones. And even though he's older, have her be the supplement.
Right.
But it's going to be 90% her, which is not what anybody wants.
No, we know it is.
Not as a send-off.
No.
That's the point of it, is that it's not me saying I don't want anything to change. It's me saying this is a send-off for a character I have cared about my entire life. And your decision is, not only is he going to be gone, you're going to erase him.
Right.
So it's that's what I mean when I say the woke agenda.
Right. And this is where I think that Iger might salvage things that Chapek never could. He might come in and say, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, he needs to. He's got to reel her in.
He may say, okay, I see that you want to keep making Indiana Jones movies with a female lead.
Which is fine.
I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with you erasing Indiana Jones from history.
But that's the thing.
So that we're not doing. And Iger may be the type that can actually force that change where Chapek couldn't, because he has no idea or any creativity.
Well, the thing is that, you have to look at it from a fan standpoint, right? Is that Indiana Jones, right, is something I have cared about my entire life.
Yeah, as have I.
My entire life. And The last one I didn't think was particularly good.
Yeah.
Only because it was more soulless than anything else.
Right.
It wasn't, it had Miriam and, whatever.
Yeah.
It was just a little soulless. But
Yeah.
the thing of it is that I'm okay with continuing on the Indiana Jones legacy with Marcus's granddaughter. I'm fine. I really am.
Yeah.
No issue from me.
No, not only because, your lead actor is 80. So, yeah.
Right, but I mean,
It's not-
the choice is that you put it to bed or,
Right.
You have to continue it on. And if you don't want to use a guy,
Yeah.
right, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with passing the mantle to
Yeah.
continue on the legacy.
Oh, for sure.
But you do not erase the legacy
Right,
of
and
one of the
that's kinda
greatest
been-
movies
right.
ever.
That's been my whole issue now is that seem, that's what I consider the quote unquote woke agenda.
Yeah.
Is that instead of us pushing diversity
Mm-hmm.
and having a female take up, the mantle of Indiana Jones, you're erasing the legacy. You're erasing, him from the entire universe, basically.
Right.
You did that with Skywalker too. Like, that's what I'm saying, is that's what you've been doing.
Right. In the Hawkeye series, right?
Yeah.
Hawkeye basically, he wants to retire.
Right.
And he passes the mantle to Kate Bishop.
Perfect.
Now, again, I'm not a Kate Bishop fan, but I'm okay with, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I take a protege, and now they're going to carry on my legacy.
See,
but my
but the
legacy is
mistake of
full
it
intact.
The mistake of it is that it's not, it's not me being rigid. I can get on board with Kate Bishop because it makes sense. Oh yeah, he doesn't want to do it
makes
anymore.
sense.
And would I rather see him? Sure. But you know what? I get it. I get his motivation.
But
not
as long,
shitting on his character.
But as long as her motivation is, I've been given this great honor to take over for Hawkeye, I just hope I can do half as much as he did because he was so great. You do
Right.
that, and then you have your own adventures. Cool. But when you immediately say, I'm better than you from day one, nothing you did matters. It's only what I do matters.
When She-Hulk, that shit about how She-Hulk was better than Hulk. And
day one.
Hulk doesn't know anything about suffering because she gets catcalled.
Right.
It's just like...
Yeah, that was brilliant. Brilliant writing.
Right, but that's what it is. That's what it is. It's just that, men don't understand the suffering of women. And it's just like...
women are superior. You don't hold a candle.
And it's like, none of us are saying that, you're not equal.
Right.
That's the thing, is that I'm not coming out here saying that that you're not equal to a man.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're better.
No. But again, if you went on an adventure and this 80-year-old man at the end says, look, I can't do it anymore.
Or even if he even if he died.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like, whatever. Someone was going to shoot her and he does the old Last Crusade thing and they don't have the cup. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I get it. He's lived his life.
Sure.
This I'm okay with that.
Passing, but again, you have to spend your time living up to the legacy of what came before you, because what you came before you was the greatest
of all time.
So you hope that you could be somewhat near as good as that, but
that's the problem.
Again,
with
you're
it all.
always gonna respect the person that came before you. These movies show zero respect. It not only disrespects the characters, it disrespects the fans that love the characters to tell you that you're an idiot.
That's what it is that as a fan of a lot of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. These are and I've said this, these are my heroes.
Right.
These are who I have modeled, my right and wrong, my good and bad after.
Right, exactly.
And then for you to come out and say that they're wrong and they're awful, I don't know what to do with that, because I have tried to live my life as a good person with the lessons that I've learned from fiction.
Right. And here's the thing. I've grown up And I've always been a fan of Princess Leia.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Wonder Woman.
Same.
There are
Catwoman.
plenty of female characters that we've grown up looking up to. It's not a matter of male toxicity, too much masculinity. There are plenty of women that we've also grown up admiring, looking up to. You can have both. One doesn't have to all of a sudden say, nope, they suck, we're better, and here we are now. Your legacy is nothing. This is actually the true legacy from this point forward. Which you tried to do with Rey Skywalker.
The thing
and that
is,
whole
though,
thing
is that if I thought we were wrong, like if the movies were glowing successes and stuff, I would be the first to admit that.
Sure.
It's just like, look, maybe my perspective is warped on it, and I just have to get right with the future. But they're not glowing successes. Most people, like I said, most of this shit at best has been meh.
Yeah.
And at worst has been a dumpster fire.
Right. Yeah. There has, and I'm not talking money, right? Money, whatever, right? I'm talking nothing in Marvel for Phase 4 has been met with glowing response.
Werewolf by Night.
Well, I'm talking about movies mostly, but yeah,
No Way Home.
Yeah, but even only because Sony has a say in that, right? Marvel doesn't have a full say. But you're right, No Way Home, and there's a nostalgia point. Werewolf by Night did terrible. We loved it. It did terrible.
What do you mean it did terrible?
Ratings-wise, awful.
What do you mean? It got like an 8.
No, that's a score. I'm talking about the overall ratings.
Oh, people didn't watch it?
They didn't watch it. Like, no one watched it. It, like, tanked. It didn't even make the top 10.
Really?
Yeah. It really did poor.
No, that's too bad.
And here's the thing, right? Like in DC, right? They scrapped the Batgirl movie, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
Black Adam came out.
Yeah.
Black Adam did not make money.
No.
But the fans love the movie. If Batgirl was a good movie, they would not have cared about the money part of it.
Well, the thing is this, is that and it goes back, it all wraps into sort of Thor Love and Thunder in a way, is you have to look at this as, the smaller part of a whole.
Right.
Right? And if Black Adam doesn't make money or it breaks even and you thought it was going to be this huge success, but the fans love it, you're adding a spark to the coals.
Right. You're building off that. There is fan excitement.
Right.
If Batgirl was going to do that, they would have released it.
So it's
they
not
wouldn't
about,
have worried about if it made money.
It's not about it just making money.
No.
Because the thing is that Marvel's Phase 4 has made money.
Most of the movies have made either broke even or made money.
Right.
But they are not getting the reviews.
But the thing is that you have to look at it, like, you know how they say in, like, politics, like, the shit that is done now takes a long time before it actually affects, right? Things, it's a wave, right? It's the same thing with this, is that, sure, you were making $1 billion today, but the fans' fire is dying out.
Yeah.
So, no, Black Adam didn't make money, but for me at least, I watched it.
But the thing is,
it ignited a spark.
But here's the difference. Black Adam has fans excited for the future of DC.
Right.
Wakanda Forever does not.
Well, no,
it doesn't. It's not eliciting that same like it.
Like, did you see the Doctor Doom thing online though?
No.
So I don't know if it was supposed to be in there or whatever or what, but there's like a clip of Doom.
Right.
And he looks great.
Yeah.
But it wasn't there.
Right. Right, because it was not an actual something. Either
it's not
it was
real.
Right, either it's not real or it was cut out and they're going to save Doom for something else. But the problem is people are walking away from Marvel because they're not excited, because regardless, people went to go see Wakanda Forever, and some of that, I hate to say, is because of morbid curiosity with the Chadwick Boseman situation and how that was handled.
I think they handled it right.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they didn't, but the thing is that people are not saying that it's a great move. Like, look, Black Panther, the original Black Panther, people were talking about that's revolutionary.
It was too long, but it wasn't bad.
No, but that's what everybody's saying. It's not bad. It's not horrible. Some people say it, but no one's saying this is.
Well, the critics are. The critics all say it's the greatest thing that's ever happened.
But who cares what critics say? They said She-Hulk was
fantastic,
right? One of the best Marvel movie Disney Plus shows to date, and we know it's absolutely the worst Disney Plus show to date. So I don't care what critics say because they're in the pocket. They're getting paid to do what they do, and whatever. That's how they want to live their life. Go for it. But
it's just kind of exhausting, right? It's exhausting to kind of, as a lifelong fan of a lot of this stuff, it's exhausting to kind of see what they've turned it into.
Yeah.
It's just, I just don't understand, why there aren't any checks and balances for this. It doesn't work the way that you're. And that's the thing, is that no one is saying we can't move forward with a female Indy, or even Riri, right? Like, even though she's not a favorite in the comics, right? And she's a nothing character in the Wakanda, she's a plot device.
Yeah.
If you didn't want to bring back Iron Man, but you wanted an Iron Man-esque character and Riri's next up on the block, fine, whatever. But do it right and make us actually care about the character.
Right.
And don't shit on Tony Stark's legacy.
Right. You don't make her all of a sudden better than Tony Stark in day one.
Right.
You don't make her better than Tony Stark ever, but you certainly don't do it on day one.
But the thing of it is, right, is that if this continues, you're going to see, like, writers that actually care about this shit, that are talented, aren't going to do these projects anymore.
No.
Like the dude that was part of The Witcher bailed to do X-Men.
Yeah, and he'll bail on that if he doesn't get it the way he wants it to be.
Because it's like, these are people that are established or have the talent, and they want to do things that they're passionate about. And because of that, the things that they do are better.
Yeah.
Because if you don't care, it's a soulless train wreck. Like, if you actively hate the properties, how can you make something good if you actively hate them?
Right. And that is a lot of what we're getting right now. We're getting people that actually don't care for the properties, but are taking the job, have zero passion, have zero... Well, did you see what Marvel said, or did you see what one of the people of Marvel said when talking about hiring for writers for the movies? They said that they do not want people that have any knowledge of the comics. They actively will not hire you if you're passionate about the source material.
Yeah, see, to me, that seems like a gross misstep.
Right. Like, they're like, oh, we don't want any preconceived notions of what to do. We want to make it, how we want it to be done and fit into this world.
Right,
and it's like, no, that's not how you do it.
That you tried, and it didn't work.
No,
so it's like,
it's
not like it's one of those things where we're saying, like, you can't even try. Like, you tried, and it fucking failed.
Right, but I mean, again, why can't you have somebody that does have knowledge, and again, say, and keep it in, and that would be your check and balance guy, say, hey, we can't go here. We can go here, but we can't go here. Okay, so now let's travel down this path, because this path we could work with. This path is a dead end.
Well, Chapek's gone.
Yeah.
Iger's got basically 2 years on his contract, right? He's at least through December of next year.
Yes.
So I don't know what like. Here's the thing: is that it basically what I think his weight is going to be is what happens with the Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, Guardians is already in the books, right? And that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Ant-Man will probably be fine.
Yeah.
But I think the Indiana Jones thing will be really telling.
I think that Iger, if there's any success for Iger, it's going to be Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm is dead. It's a dead entity. If that gets resurrected, then that would be Iger.
Well, this Indiana Jones is Lucas.
Right, but I'm saying Star Wars is dead. It's dead and buried at this moment. Like, people have walked away completely. Andor, as much as everybody says that Andor is a great series,
I heard
no
Andor's
one watched
good,
it,
but
no one
watched
cared.
It. Right,
no
because
one cared.
It's the wave, right? Is that the spark died out, and it took a little while to get there. Mm-hmm. But, and the thing is that if you put something out that was truly great, you can reignite the spark even as it's dying. Mm-hmm. But you didn't.
No, but Iger has to be the guy to say, well, who was in charge when this all died? I think I need to make a change there.
She's got to go.
Right, and if Iger does that, if Iger gets rid of Kathleen Kennedy and resurrects Star Wars, even to just, not saying to its full glory, but get people excited again, get it back to where people are willing to give it another opportunity, then that's a success for Iger. If Indiana Jones, if the ending is what we're told it is, and that's the way it comes out, and Indiana Jones is an absolute flop that kills the franchise forever, that's on Iger. Because this
it's on Iger, but I think at some point Kathleen Kennedy needs to be held accountable.
Right.
Because she's destroyed Star Wars.
And that's what, and I think Iger needs to hold her accountable right now.
Listen, if I was Iger, that's the first person that I'm coming after.
Absolutely, I would. You killed a brand, one of the largest brands in the world, and it's dead because of you. And now I'm being told that Indiana Jones is about to be killed too, based upon your movie.
If they let that ending happen, right? Because the thing is that even though Crystal Skull sucked, that trailer gave me the nostalgia. I was like, oh, I love Indiana Jones.
Absolutely.
So you can recover from a shitty movie.
Yeah.
But you can't recover. Like, I can't watch Star Wars now that they've assassinated Luke's character.
Right.
The same.
No.
Because it just doesn't feel the same anymore.
No.
And if they do that with Indiana Jones, it's going to do the same thing to those three movies. I won't be able to watch them and feel good.
Right.
Because I know.
Because you know where it goes.
Right. You've ruined it.
Right. Yeah. And so Iger's on the clock right now to make some change. And
Ethan Van Sciver has been saying this for years.
Oh yeah, he's been on it for many years, and he's been told he's a racist, a bigot, a Nazi,
misogynist.
Right, but
listen, he's not perfect, and some of his views are a little backwards. Yeah. But I'll say this: I think the thing is this. I think that you can get so big that you lose touch with what you're supposed to be doing.
Sure.
I think Feige needs to go. I think Kathleen Kennedy needs to go. I think the only way that you can truly fix this shit is if you get someone that's passionate about these properties.
Well, the thing is, and I'll go back to saying it, is that they're so interested in the agenda, the virtue signaling, checking the boxes, that they've lost touch on the stories. They've lost touch on the actual characters that made it. Feige isn't interested in telling the best stories anymore. He's interested in making sure that they're checking the boxes that Disney wants.
Because he's a businessman, and he's looking at it like a businessman instead of a creative.
Right. He lost the creative touch now, and he's
gone.
only doing business.
It's gone.
Once you do that,
he met with Chapek. Chapek outlined what he needs.
Yep.
And Feige said, "Yeah, I can do that."
Right. And Phase 4 has suffered tremendously based upon their agenda.
So hopefully Iger switches it around. I mean, I'm hopeful on it.
Well,
I really am.
Yeah, I mean, he it could get worse, though. It could get worse
and
under
you know what?
Iger.
That's fine. If it gets worse, then we just walk away.
Right.
Like, that's the thing is that...
Which many have.
Right. I'm a little more forgiving than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm willing to kind of... If you can right the ship, I'll jump back on board.
Yeah.
Because I love this shit. I'm a lifelong fan.
Right, and that's the thing. We want these properties to succeed. We want to be there to champion all these successes. We want to watch every movie, every TV show. We want to, buy the products. We want to do that stuff. We have the money waiting for you, and you're telling us no, we don't want you, and we don't understand why. We don't understand why the fans that you want, you turn away, and the fans you do want were never there to begin with. They're not there. The gate is, there's nobody behind that gate. It's invisible. And all the other people that want to be there, you told stay home, we don't want you anymore. And I don't understand that business model or that philosophy whatsoever.
Yeah, because, they just released that animated flick, right? And that's lost $180 million or something.
Not only has it lost that, people have walked out of the theater saying, this is the worst piece of shit.
So here's the thing.
I don't want my kids
is it
seeing.
Bad?
No, it's bad. Because it's all woke politics. It's all pushing agenda. That's all it is. It's about pushing environmentalism. And the kids are all saying, this sucks. I'm not interested.
Well, it's
and
not,
the parents
right.
are like,
so
I don't want
thing.
my kids watching this.
Is it trickles down to that, right? Is that all of this bullshit, it's finally gotten to the kids' movies.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is that I'm sure that the messages are good, right? Like save the earth,
sure,
equality.
Yeah, we had that in WALL-E already.
But they're all good messages,
yeah,
right? But they're not fun movies.
No.
And it's like, you go to the movies to have fun,
and you have characters that the kids can't relate to. They don't want to relate to them, and they don't relate to them.
Yeah,
they walk out.
There's an ex-Disney employee that made this movie that's on Netflix called Sea Beast.
Okay.
And it's
Sea Beast. Yes.
It's like a kids animated movie.
The pirates. Yes.
Yeah, they're fighting the monsters and shit. And one of the main themes, right? It still has that theme, is that your heroes aren't always right.
Mm-hmm.
They can be your heroes, but just understand that sometimes your heroes are wrong.
Right.
And to me, I watched it, and I thought to myself, because you have a poignant lesson,
mm-hmm,
but you're not saying, oh, your heroes were wrong about this, so they're no longer heroes.
Right.
You're just saying that no one is infallible.
Yeah.
And I think Disney should be taking that advice and just understanding that just because you're Disney, that doesn't mean you're infallible.
Yeah. You've had two massive flops in a row. Lightyear was a disastrous flop. That was another $100-something million loss.
Yeah, but I heard a lot of people were pissed off because they didn't use Tim Allen.
Well, that's part of it. But you took a $100-something million loss, and now you're doing another $100-something million loss. Two animated movies in a row. Marvel is not making the money you thought. We just found out Disney Plus took a $1.5 billion third quarter loss.
Yep.
At what point is somebody going to say, this probably isn't the right direction to go. We should probably go back to a few years ago.
You know what it's going to take is there's going to have to be something that comes out that is unapologetically for the fans that kills.
Well, Top Gun. I think Top Gun Maverick did that.
Yeah, I think it did too, but that's not a fantasy.
No. You're right.
You got to find something. It has to be a fantasy that comes out that is unapologetically for the fans, and if it kills,
mm-hmm,
it'll get to these thick-headed executives that oh, okay, so we can make a shitload of money as long as we honor the source.
Right. Sure. I definitely think that.
Well, let's see what Chapek does. He's all eyes are on him.
Yeah.
Or not Chapek, Iger.
Yeah.
All eyes are on
Right. Well, that's
Iger.
what I'm saying. He's on the clock now, so everything that happens from this point is all on him. So, if it still continues down the path that it's on, then, Iger is not the savior everybody believes he is.
All right. Well, with that, let's put this one to bed. Jim, as always, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
We got one more this year. That's going to wrap up season 1.
Yeah.
And then next year we'll start season 2. But what do you got going on? What are you finishing up the year with?
I'm gonna keep on working on Eva issue 2, trying to get that out as soon as possible. Still just making sure we drop some new artwork every week, putting some new items onto the store for people to look at and hopefully purchase.
All right, awesome. All right, guys, so that's episode 30 of The Corner. We're going to keep making these. I mean,
absolutely.
People are listening, so again, we appreciate that. Share it, like it, follow on the socials, because that really helps kind of push everything. And let me know what you guys think. I mean, what do you think of X? Is it a great horror flick? Is it mediocre? Is it awful? Did you like Thor: Love and Thunder? Did you think that tonally it was the way to go? What's in store for Disney? I mean, do you think that assassinating Indiana Jones is the correct decision, or do you think that Iger will be able to turn it around? Let me know in the comments. And yeah. All right, crew. I'll catch you on the next one.